Within Borderlands 2, there is a plethora of weapons that you can use to take down your enemies. From powerful sniper rifles, hard-hitting shotguns, and fast-firing submachine guns and assault rifles. There's a lot of great weapons out there. However, you could say there's equally as many dogshit ones. There are many weapons that try to fill a niche, but fail at it. At least, that is what is said about the Damned Cowboy. A Jacob's assault rifle that does not fire as fast as you can pull the trigger, but instead has high base damage and a slightly improved critical hit modifier. There's just one thing it didn't account for. Alright, I guess it's two. UVHM. Enemies in Ultimate Vault Hunter mode have insane scaling on their health, and they also have a flat amount of health regen, meaning most guns that don't do a shit ton of damage and have good DPS are left out in the wind. And that's where the Damned Cowboy stands at this point. At least I think so. Hold on, let me check a reputable source on this.
This video was created by Vinylic Puma of Vinylic Puma Gaming.
Number 4, the Damned Cowboy. The biggest problem with the...
Yeah, that seems about right. This video is a geared challenge on a base campaign of Borderlands 2, where I can only do gun damage with the Damned Cowboy. We are playing Axton, as I think he'll be able to give the Damned Cowboy the chance it needs. His turrets will give us much needed aggro relief in order to be able to line up shots of it. This is also UVHM, and the turret can do slag, which will tremendously increase the damage that the Damned Cowboy will be able to do, yada yada. You probably already know that if you're watching a Borderlands video. With that out the way, I will go over the rules in slightly more detail. Rule 1. I can only use the Damned Cowboy, as you'd expect. Rule 2. I am allowed to use a low-level slag magic missile. This is the UVHM. I'm not expecting this gun to even be able to kill people without slag. Rule 3. I am allowing myself to crutch on the B shield if I feel it is needed. There is a counter in the bottom right corner that will allow you to see how many times I used it. See if you can guess. Rule 4. I'm allowed to use a slag crossfire grenade. I'm also counting that as a crutch. That will be part of the counter. Rule 5. My turret is allowed. It's more than likely not going to kill things. It's just there to take aggro and to slag enemies. Number 6. I have to defeat the warrior, as you'd expect as well. And number 7. No major glitches, exploits, or bar. This last one isn't a rule, but more of a philosophy I tried to stick to. All the enemies that I would see, I would try to kill them. I did at points run past enemies, so you can yell at me if you want. Here is all the gear I used in the build, along with the build itself. I'll go over the specific skills a little bit later as they come up. And finally, 2 more things to note as I end this overly long intro, more than likely. Yes, the video quality is kind of bad. I was using OBS and I didn't know that it would automatically downscale from 1080p to 720p. So just pretend I'm playing on a 360 or something. Secondly, I was running a few mods. I'll have a list of them running by right now. You can also check them in the description. None of them were gameplay changing except for dialogue skip. I use dialogue skip because I played this game, hundreds of millions of times, and I'm sick of hearing the same boring dialogue. Sue me. And with that, let's answer the question. How bad is the Damned Cowboy? With that long, complicated, and probably unnecessary part of the video over, let's talk about the run. And a good tell if a run is going to be good or bad is if you can even take out these bully mongs in front of Wyersburg. Some weapons can't even manage to do that, even without a bully rod being there. But as you can see, the Damned Cowboy made pretty quick work at the bully mongs here, with a little bit of slag and Battlefront, and being the weakest version of the enemies I could get. Wyersburg itself went about the same. The Damned Cowboy when you have slag and are dealing with mostly fleshy enemies with shields, can do some decent work, although you can see that fight for your life is a bit of a struggle. I think because I was using a Jacob's grip, it made it more difficult. See, Jacob's grip reduces your recoil recovery and makes it so your accuracy recovers slower as well. So, while I was waiting for my accuracy to come back, it would take longer. But I also think it increases your accuracy with matching grip, so it's kind of like a catch-22 in a way. I hope by now you can already see an issue with the gun. When I'm hitting body shots, even with slag, it's not doing that much damage. And even when I'm shooting the gun at max speed, the bandits are able to regen a little bit. So while it's fine on these weak enemies, imagine something with a bigger health bar. Hammerlock does his thing, and we're ready to get out of here. I first do one side quest, which will be the only one we do during this playthrough. But it's because it gives you an assault rifle and it lets me show off the Damned Cowboy a little bit more. And what I can say is I like how the Damned Cowboy plays. That's why I did this whole run, even if it's going to get a bit rough, because I still wanted to make the gun work. But as you'll soon see, it kind of falls off once you get past enemies that you could already deal with anything in the game. I quickly dispatched the bandits on the way up to Boom Boom, almost taking a death on the way, but we clutched those, Yes, sir! We hit a slight speed bump with Boom Boom, forcing my first death. Not even the cannon, but the fucking psychos. But apparently if you destroy Big Bertha, when you come back it has less health. So I was easily able to get Boom out of his seat after that, and I killed him. He was kind of a pushover in the end. After I killed Boom and destroyed the gate, I decided to fight all the enemies that came through, which I don't think I've ever done before. And I almost take a death for it, but once again, we clutch those. Flint's camp itself wasn't that difficult, up until we met our first badass marauder of the run who promptly just fucking flattened me like a goddamn pancake. He ran over me. Fuck you. You're such a bitch for running away like that. Fuck you. Fuck you. And then I take another death because I'm standing a little too close to a fire barrel. You know, I'm just kind of silly like that, and there's not much I could have done. The scavenger I was fighting was all the way across the camp. The bandits directly leading up the Flint also are not an issue. They got the sharp end of the stick, so to say. Get it? Because the red text on the Damned Cowboy is a reference to Teddy Roosevelt, and he spoke softly and carried a big stick. Get it? I wrote a smiley face in the script, so I hope you laughed. After the Flint cutscene, I immediately jump right back out of his arena and try to get him closer to the edge, so I can shoot him without him shooting me. That's an effective way of killing bosses. However, my first attempt is ended by my own fucking turret bullets being reflected off of Flint during fire phase. At the time, I didn't even know how I went down. I thought like the grenades he was throwing at me hit me or something. My second go-around was much easier, although this is a perfect example of regeneration on the enemies. You can see that even though I take Flint down to maybe like 70, 50%, even, close to dead, once he hits fire phase and I can't really damage him, he regenerates a lot of his health. Basically, I would do a lot of DPS outside of fire phase, and then when fire phase would come around, I would lose a lot of it because I was afraid of shooting him due to the bullet reflection. Although I think his backside doesn't have bullet reflection, which I take advantage of. In the end, the flight with Captain Flint takes just over 7 minutes, which isn't terrible, but it also isn't great either. Onwards to Three Horns. This is where, again, I stop to fight pretty much all the enemies that I see. All the bullymongs are going up to the Bloodshot camp, and then I killed every single bandit in the Bloodshot camp, which added a lot of time to the run. I thought it was kind of fun. Let's ignore the few times I went to fight for my life and almost died for no reason. Hello, door guy. Goodbye, door guy. I met up with Reese, and unfortunately, one of the psychos on him was a badass, along with having 2 ironclads as well. So let's just say killing the 3 psychos for the objective was a little bit of a struggle. Might have gone down once or twice. Thank you to the Racks. Also, fuck you to the Racks. I get the power core for Sanctuary, and going along with my try to kill everything in my path philosophy, I killed all 20 bloodshots required for the optional objective before promptly throwing myself into the ocean so I can skip back at the Sanctuary. Totally not a death, yeah. I don't think I actually counted it. So, for the death counter at the end, remember to add +1. At Sanctuary, I'm at the locals. Before I ran out the Frostburn Canyon to meet up with the Firehawk. Frostburn Canyon was where, again, I tried to kill everything in my path. This does lead to me taking a death. There was a Goliath, a Nomad, and a Tink. A Tink on high ground that just rained death on me. And yeah, I died pretty bad. Don't worry though, I got it back in blood. And I will say this is the first time I just get past combat when I wasn't in a vehicle. I fucking hate spider ants. And I just decided I don't want to deal with that. And from there, I basically ran through the rest of Frostburn, getting up to Lilith's Lair. I even did the skip. First try. Revive Lilith, give Lilith Iridium, watch Lilith kill things. Pretty standard mobbing here. And yeah, of course, Lilith does the thing she's known for. She takes one of my second wins. Fucking badass psycho takes me down and she just comes over and does the finishing blow. Sometimes she can be a bitch. After that, I was pretty much done with the badass psycho, so I just tried to grenade kill the other two that came in. I got one, but the other one got stuck on something, I guess. I just had to gun him down. And with dialogue skip active, once you hand in the mission hunting the Firehawk, Lilith will automatically teleport you. No waiting for her to speak. Isn't that fun? It's time for Bloodshot! And by that, I mean it's time for the dust. I was pretty divided on if I could use vehicles to deal damage, but in the end I decided that I wasn't allowed. So I had to get out my Outrunner and kill the technicals with my bare hands. And by my bare hands, I mean with my Damned Cowboy. Sheets of wet paper towels are probably tankier than the vehicles in this game, so it's okay. I ended up taking care of the vehicles pretty fast, although I died twice, I think. Once I got ran over, of course, and the other time some random badass technical just came over and shot me to death. I wanted to avenge myself, but he just disappeared. So, score 1 technical, score 0 me. I'll say with this playthrough, I spent a bit more time in the dust. I actually kind of walked around it, because it's been a long time since I stopped and looked around the dust. There's a lot of little fun areas, like this random thing next to the Friendship Gulag here. Jesus Christ, are these magic missiles useless? And the slot machine in here. With all of the parts gathered, I got my tentacle and went back to the gates of Bloodshot Stronghold. The mobbing outside wasn't too bad, but here he is, the big boy himself. Nomads with shields sucked really hard with the damn cowboy, because there was about nothing I could do to get past their shield. I could toss grenades at them and hope that they would show me their crit spot, but otherwise, I just had to rely on the turret to distract from me, which is what I did for here with Badmaw. Bloodshot itself also sucked horribly. I took 2 more deaths, one from some random marauder with a fire gun. I thought this asshole soft-locked me by running through the shutter. Thankfully, he came back out and I shot him in the head. And the other was from a nomad with a shield. but I managed to make it to Roland without much more fuss. And we were finally introduced to loader mobbing. I died on the first robot. Throughout this run, angelic guards and sergeant loaders are going to be my arch nemesis. They suck. If you're using the Damned Cowboy. Almost died again, but we clutch those. We take that. Throughout the ramparts, I stuck to my philosophy of trying to kill as many mobs as possible before abandoning that and running through the last part of the dam. As I couldn't remember if Warden was on a timer for when you got onto the ramparts or when you got to him for going to the Friendship Gulag. And I really did not want to go to the Friendship Gulag. The Warden himself can act like a roadblock for some weapons. He has shield and armor, so if your gun is fire, you're fuck out of luck there. And he also has incredible explosive resistance, so your best bet to deal with him is shock and corrosion. Let's just say the Damned Cowboy doesn't do that. His regenerating shield is kind of a hindrance, because it regenerates a lot faster than health. He wasn't that bad for me, but I did die to him once because of his regenerating shield. Look at this loader. What is he doing? After that, I lock in and I end up taking out the Warden. With Roland's help, the rest of the mobbing was pretty easy. His turret can also be used for aggro relief, so as long as I slagged up my targets, they wouldn't be shooting at me, and I could easily dispatch them. We catch up with Roland at Sanctuary, where he explains nothing, and then we go to Tundra Express. I also take some time out to customize my technical a little bit. We're repping Jacobs, alright. I hit a button. Don't know why this Varkid's AI broke, but I'm thankful for that. And with that, I'm off to meet another character. Tina tells us to go get the Badonkadonks, which I'm quick to do, and definitely don't take an unnecessary fight with this random bandit, and end up dying for it. Not at all. Fuck you. And we blow the hell out of this train. So, Wilhelm. He was a lot easier than I thought he'd be. This fight took longer than it usually would for me, but he didn't pose much of a challenge at all. I kind of just shot him until he died, which, you know, that's how it works, right? But I was expecting to have to do something a little bit more daring or dangerous, and for it to be maybe, you know, slightly more challenging. It wasn't like that. With his death, I had the mysterious power core that definitely wouldn't blow everyone to hell. Nope, I'm gonna go slot that in right now. Which is what I did. Looks like it is the power core that will blow everyone to hell. Except for Lieutenant Davis, I guess he was a siren. Flying City. I'm pretty quick to save quit, to skip the waiting and head to the fridge. I take a stupid death in the fridge because of a random rat. Shit. I sound like a New Yorker saying that. I make it to the High Winds Outwash. Then I head over to the processing plant for a beacon. So, you remember when I said that Angelic Guard and sergeant loaders are my arch nemesis? Yeah, constructors are as well. You can't slag them so they don't take any more damage from the Damned Cowboy. And even when I was hitting him in his crit spot, he was not taking that much damage. So, for this part, I swallowed my pride and pulled out the beast shield, hoping to finish him off. Oh my god. Yeah, even with the beast shield, that's kind of pitiful damage. Finally, the constructor was dead, and there was an even worse enemy in front of us. Hi, Gluttonous Thresher. Yeah, I died 4 more times on this thing. Because it would call down Sergeant Loaders and Angelic Guard to help it out, and they would kill me. Then I couldn't get the second win on them or the Thresher. Either or, it really sucked. But I could slag him, so if I got lucky, which I did, I could eventually kill him with slag and the beast shield. Good riddance to bad rubbish. Now it was time for Overlook, and I died 2 more times. I even put on the blockade to try and help me with my defense for this portion, before letting the beacon die 7 times so it become invincible. It was not pretty at all. Like, this was the point of the run where I was like, fuck, maybe I should just give up. You know, I was only maybe 2 hours in at this point, so I was nearing the halfway point, and I was like, you know, I could just not do this. But I persevered. And I feel pretty good because I completed the run in the end. But Overlook and the Outwash were terrible. Absolutely horrendous. Heavily demoralizing. And with a well-timed save quit, I was able to get back to Sanctuary without having to deal with any of the enemies. A save quit was definitely on purpose. Wildlife. Did this go well? Yeah, I died once because of a bad play, but otherwise, I was fucking locked in, I guess. Although I did put the B shield on for a little bit. Even the infamous door section wasn't that hard. And Bloodwing was a pushover too. I don't know why Overlook was so fucking hard and this was a goddamn cakewalk. But yeah, I pushed through here extraordinarily quickly and got my Claptrap upgrade. It feels really wild that Wildlife is literally just a footnote in this video. You would think Bloodwing would be at least more than a sentence. Thousand cuts. Yeah, it was the same here actually. There wasn't any sort of issues. With the initiation, I just shot the badass Goliath's helmets off and let them do most of the work for me before cleaning up. It was pretty long, but overall very painless. The mortar section was also easy, with Brick helping me out. He would also take aggro off me, so I could just easily sit back and hit crits on these loaders. Again, I don't know why Overlook and the Outwash were so hard for me when I breezed through 2 of the sections of the game that people would consider to be pretty difficult. Maybe not 1,000 cuts. But it wouldn't last. Opportunity kicked my ass pretty hard for some reason. I didn't die that much, but it was very stressful. Like, I was getting pushed a ton. There's just a fuck ton of enemies around, and the body double took a long time to kill. He has a lot of health, apparently. and a regenerating shield. I never noticed that before. These engineers as well piss me off because I couldn't crit them until I took off their helmet. So I would be doing basically fuck all damage to them unless I crit them. And of course, to crit them, I needed to get the helmet off. So the magic missile was my best friend. Now I got through opportunity pretty fast anyways. And now, that means it's time for the bunker climb. The bunker climb was hard and arduous, with the thing taking the most amount of time being the super badass constructor that has like 1,000,000 health, and I can't attack from the front because they'll kill me. He didn't kill me though. The only thing that took me down was a random ultimate badass loader that showed up and put me in the fight for my life, and then I just couldn't deal with him. It was very time consuming and I didn't like it, but I persevered. That's what I can say. The moral of this playthrough is perseverance. Or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, you can add like another death to the counter at the end because I didn't count this one from the Ultimate Badass. I was too pissed off at the time, I think. It was now time for the autocannons, which, it went pretty well. It's just autocannons. They don't do that much damage. But they also don't take that much damage. You need to make sure you slag them first. And it was pretty hard to get to their crit spots. Do this 11 times, and now it's time for the main attraction. The BNK3R. Greatest defense spot ever designed. Bunker isn't that hard at all, but he has a ton of health. And with such a low fire rate weapon, I couldn't go through him that fast. I would get in a little bit of damage, and then he'd go into one of his immunity phases. So the fight took a long time because of that. Over 12 to 13 minutes. And, well, would you look at that? No sham. Wait, what the fuck? Maybe it's good luck. I sold everything the bunker dropped except for the gub and headed down to Control Core. It's Control Core. Like, no notes. I died once because, I'm stupid, and put an end to the Angel. I thought it would be worse. I said loader mobbing was kind of difficult, but I don't know. I guess as I said, I was locked the fuck in. the Iridium Blight and Sawtooth Cauldron. I got both rare spawns in the Iridium Blight, and I didn't get shit from them. So fuck you, Donkey Mong, and fuck you, King Mong. Couldn't drop me shit. At this point, I was pretty worn out of mobbing. I knew I was going to have to do a lot of it, so I completely skipped the front section of Sawtooth Cauldron and went right to the ambush commanders. These ambush commanders were a giant pain in my fucking ass, and they ended up killing me twice. But, you know, I think I gotta say the turd is the fucking goat. That's what I gotta say. The turd is the goat. They, would shoot the turret and would stop shooting at me, and then I could just walk around to the side and shoot him in the head. Yeah. I guess that's always the solution to your problem, right? More bullets. I tried to skip running up Main Street a few times, but I couldn't remember how the grenade jump worked here. So I just had to, you know, do a walk of shame to Main Street. And that made me take 2 more cheap deaths from this fucking juggernaut. I hate these guys. Their hitboxes suck, and he had 2 shotguns that just completely shredded my health and armor bar. Not fun at all, seriously. I had more trouble with this juggernaut than I did with Bunker. That's how awful he was.
Quad damage.
Hi, Boomerbringer. Bye, Broombringer. Hi, Mortar. Bye, Mortar. He almost got me, though. And he also dropped me something kind of pretty. And with this, the excursion to Sawtooth would be over once I shot down these buzzards and stole the explosives. Which I thought would be simple. I died once because of stupid fucking buzzard AI that hates you and wants you to suffer and bleed and kill yourself. Did I mention how much I don't like fucking buzzards? Almost died a second time because I ran past an enemy up below health gate. But as I always say, we clutch those. We clutch those. I'm kind of insane. No cap. For real, for real. Hey, with this final Goliath kill, Sawtooth was done, and I was on to the Errant Nexus. So for the Errant Nexus, for the first pumping station, I just ran past everything, hit the 2 switches. It's pretty easy. For the second one, do you remember what I said about sergeant loaders? Let's just say they rammed their robotic hands up my asshole and out my mouth. It was not a good time. I took 2 more deaths here before finally breaking through their impervious defenses and hitting the other 2 switches. That was the only part that was hard in the boneyard, because for the third pumping station, I literally did the same thing I did for the first. Nobody aggro onto me, and I just hit switches, guns to the pipe, ran past everything. Welcome to the Badlands. So I knew I wasn't going to be able to kill Saturn, so I looked for a way to be able to skip him. I had seen a few videos where people had done this, so I was looking around Firestone for a way to get up to the info stockade. And I found it! I found it on my own. Even did the grenade jump without any help. It took me a little bit, and I got mad, and I also died. Yeah, I died. So, I had skipped up to the info stockade. I was pretty happy about it. But I forgot the objective isn't to get into the info stockade first. You first need to press a button on an elevator heading up to the highway. So I went through all that effort for basically nothing. I just ran up to the info stockade from the highway. I also tested my damage on Saturn. Yeah, holy shit, that health bar is not moving. Got the map, and now it's time for the Talon of God. We're here at Endgame. Only a few more sections of mobbing left. We have this door and Iridium Blight. Did this go well? Actually, yeah, we didn't die. Once we got the door turrets, the bots were too distracted by them to actually shoot me. So they were pretty easy, honestly. Although, there was like 4 badass surveyors. They were pissing me the fuck off. Once the door opened, we were in Heroes Pass. It honestly wasn't too bad. I did go down and die in the first section for whatever reason. I think I was just playing terribly. Just no brain, none, running up to enemies and dying. I went down because of this spooky Yahuda with a torque shotgun, and it just eviscerated my entire life, my entire fucking bloodline. After this, I focused up a bit more, and I was able to get through the required mobbing without any issues. The death counter will correct itself, don't worry. Once Mordecai opened his wall, I grenade jumped over to the end of Hero's Pass, and finally, the Vault of the Warrior. Before we could kill the warrior, there is, of course, Handsome Jack. This fight fucking sucked, oh my god! It's not something I usually notice, because you have weapons that can just DPS him down really quick. He doesn't have that much health, but with a gun like the Damned Cowboy, you'll notice that his health regeneration is pretty fast, and it takes forever to take down his Surveyor that makes him completely immune to damage. Even when you have it slagged, so he'll end up regenerating a lot of your damage before you're able to get more in. He has a lot of attacks that I usually don't notice. I'm honestly quite surprised I never used his AI for anything else. Or maybe I did and I didn't notice, because honestly it's quite unique. Overall, the fight sucked because I didn't have the damage to deal with him, but I never noticed how fun this fight could be. I think it kinda sucks that Jack is only a one-time kill. I took a death from him as well. He killed me with the loaders he brought in. It's a stupid fucking bulldozer or something, I don't know. Eventually, because this is Borderlands, his AI bugged out and he got stuck in place. And that allowed me just to shoot him in the head until he died. Pretty anticlimactic, but honestly, we take those. Fuck him. With the final shot, the Vault Key was charged and Jack summoned the warrior. The warrior fight was pretty easy, honestly. What a switch up. Went down once, but I didn't die. It was just a pretty slow kill. I think it took me about 10 minutes from start to end. He doesn't have health regeneration, so I just played it pretty safely. Stood behind cover and let my turret slag him. I also switched over to the crossfire grenade. It's the only time I used it. And went to hit him on the spot on his chest, which would be pretty hard to open up if he wasn't slagged. I also tried to keep my kill skills up thanks to the racks that would spawn. So I think that helped me. Onslaught boosts your gun damage for like 30% or something, and Mental Storm made my DPS ever so slightly better. Essentially, my strat for the fight was to play peekaboo. I stood behind solid cover and shot him in the chest. Hated when he didn't attack, and that's how I did it. And again, it was pretty slow. Not as slow as the bunker kill, though, it looks like, but it still took a long time. And it was kind of nerve-wracking, because I knew if I died, I'd have to do the entire fight over again. And that probably would have made me quit. He just has too much fucking health. I honestly had a few false starts in Celebration, because I thought he was on Death Cycle on like 2 or 3 times. But eventually, we riddle him down, and the warrior falls over. Little moonshot to the head, and that was it. With one more headshot, we had beaten the game. I'm sure Jack's last words were like, "Damn that cowboy," or something like that. I put a smiley face in the script here too, so I hope you laughed. So, now, we can answer the question of how bad is the Damned Cowboy. And in my personal opinion, backed up by me doing a full game run, only using it, it is goddamn atrocious. Borderlands 2 is decently hard, especially in UVHM and the overpowered levels. So, I think if you're trying to take it on, you should stay far away from this rifle. Its main issues come down from its lack of DPS. The strong damage on the first shot doesn't matter because it doesn't even have the best damage in category. That goes to the M28-28 Thompson, which is also more than likely easier to get. But even before the Thompson came out and power crept it, the Hammer Buster still did more damage and had a much higher fire rate still. The niche that the Damned Cowboy is trying to fill in, I think, is cool. It's a cool idea. A powerful Jacob's assault rifle that can kill things in one shot. But it just fails at that in Ultimate Vulnerable mode. Its damage isn't high enough, its critical hit modifier isn't high enough, and the cap on its fire rate hurts it even more in a game mode that gives the enemies health regeneration. If you're not aggressive enough with it, and or you miss all your shots, which is totally possible, if you decide to get a Damned Cowboy with the Wild accessory, which increases its fire rate to a staggering 132 rounds a minute. It decreases its accuracy by 10%, which doesn't sound that bad, but when you compare it, oh my gosh, it's like your bullets are going to whiz by enemies' heads despite you not doing anything. It feels like it can barely hit the broadside of a damn barn. In the background right now, you should see some footage playing of me killing the warrior again with a non-unique Jacob's assault rifle with the same parts I used for the Damned Cowboy. And if you'll notice, it was significantly faster because of the much increased DPS. I think if I were to give this thing a buff, it would have to do a fucking buttload of damage or critical hit damage. And then I think I would also make it have perfect accuracy when you're aiming down sights. I think it's very strange that the gun is supposed to worry you for hitting your shots and punish you for missing them by having a slow fire rate. But it also has mediocre accuracy. So, to conclude, the Damned Cowboy is awful, not worth the effort of getting, and it's definitely not worth taking up space in your backpack. It's probably pretty fun on normal and TVHM. So if you want to use it, go ahead and pick it up then, and then toss it out.